Welcome to Your Studio Podcast, sharing strategies for studio owners. Chantel Bruinsma and Michelle Hunter are co-CEOs of Studio Evolution, an online global community for studio owners who run dance, music, acting, visual arts, yoga, Pilates, even woodworking businesses. Over the last decade, they have transformed the lives of thousands of studio owners, helping them to create wildly successful and profitable studios, giving studio owners the life of their dreams. So welcome home, grab a cuppa, let's get started.
Hey friends, it's Michelle and Chantel here, and today we have another fun episode to dive into.
Yeah, that's right. We are going to be having a good convo today. But first up, funny story. So I got this text from one of our long-term clients named Ryan, who is transformed. The Ryans, actually, two Ryans.
We call them the Ryans.
Yeah, they're the Ryans. You probably hear us talk about them because we adore them, and they've just created unbelievable success in their business. Anyway, so I get a text from him on like Saturday at 1 o'clock saying, hey, fun thing, there's a bunch of us evolutionaries going for dinner in Beecroft, and I live in the suburb called Beecroft. It's like, we're going for dinner tonight, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, it's Saturday, I have young children, so obviously don't really have a life. It's like, oh, okay.
Let me just check my diary. I'm free.
I'm free. It's like, you're going to come, and he's like, we're going to this restaurant called The Veranda. I'm like, that's 500 meters from my house.
So close to your house. Right. So close.
Oh, no, sorry. He actually said, like, it's for Sunday. So he texted me at 1 o'clock on Saturday and said, like, oh, this is for Sunday. And I was like, yeah, Sunday night, like, sounds lovely. It'd be so fun to catch up with all of you. And then he texts me at 4 o'clock saying, oh, my bad. It's tonight. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Just checking my calendar again.
I'm free.
Still no plan. So I said to Trev, like, could you just help with bedtime, and I could just go up the road for dinner. And we decided to not tell any of the members, any of our clients, that I was going to have a surprise.
I didn't know that. You did a surprise pop in.
Yeah. So I texted Ryan when I was like outside the front door, and then he came out to get me, and then we came in. He said, like, oh, look who I found walking outside.
That would have been so good.
It was very fun. It was really fun, and it was just such a joy to see everyone. It was a bit of a special weekend because our members had just finished a pillar. So they just submitted all of their projects, and they were like, we're done. We're in celebration week. We can just enjoy it. And so everyone was just like, yay, we did it. And I said that you'd given me permission to buy wine for everyone, which they were thrilled about. So they thank you for the Pinot Noir, Michelle.
I approved. Yeah,
yeah,
that's great.
He said that we could put on the company credit card, but it was such a joy. And we were the last to leave the restaurant. They put us in like a private area because we were raucous and loud and
I could imagine how loud that dinner table would have been.
I mean, like Beecroft, the suburb I live in, it's a very established kind of like older population.
Yeah.
And we were, just having a bit of fun. So we were the last to leave. Like, they turned the music off. They had like all of the stuff at the front door. And then we're like, okay, it's time for us to go. But
it's time. The lights are off. We're going to go.
But we think we might kind of do it again at the end of every pillar, just to kind of have a little catch up. It's super fun.
Why not? So much fun.
And if they're happy to come 500 meters from my house, I'm happy to show up. Like, that's
100%. I'm happy to put on shoes and come and meet you.
Yes. So happy. Such good people, such good humans. So today we wanted to kind of dive into a really big topic that is like one of the pivotal transformation points on a studio owner's journey, and that a lot of people stay stuck in for so long, so much longer than we would really desire for them to stay stuck in that stage. Yeah. And it's not an easy one, is it, Michelle?
No, it's not, Chantel. And this is a question we get asked a lot in person at retreats and even online. And, the question is, when do I know I'm ready to hire a studio admin or bring someone else into the business? So from going solo, doing all the things, being right in the thick all day, every day, to bringing someone in. And it's a big decision, growing up in a studio with my sister. It's horrible to watch when someone is so in it, and then when they're on the outside of it and they can get to that stage, it's such a transformation. So what the first thing when they say that there's a couple of factors, right? What are the obstacles we hear when we say when it's time to hire a studio admin?
Can't afford it.
Get some help. Can't afford it. Can't afford it. Or, but I like to do everything myself. That's another one that we hear quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, people trust themselves that they can do it. And, you know, particularly like responding to inquiries in the inbox, like you have your way of doing things, and your way of doing things has gotten the results that you've gotten so far. So you have established, you know, evidence that how you do it has worked. And so the idea of someone not doing it kind of as you've done it. And then I think another factor of this is also that feeling of my systems, or I don't have systems. And so there's almost like this kind of resistant shame of like, but if I'm going to hire someone, it's all just in here, right? And it's all on me. And so there's like this fear of what are they going to think of me that I haven't got this set up. And then it's tricky. And then like, but then I need to be prepared if I'm going to hire someone. So, but I haven't got time to build the systems because I'm drowning.
Yeah.
And so then we don't hire someone and we stay stuck in this cycle. And so there's
kind of almost
perfectionism of wanting things to be ready for them to hire, but then you're not able to do so. Keeps people stuck for a long time.
Then they jump back on that hamster wheel and they just keep on going, and they're on the hamster wheel to burnout. It's just, we see it every day. And probably the place to start, Chantel, and I know you hear me say this and I've heard you say it too, sometimes it's just like, just start with 5 hours a week. If you can bring someone, if you're a solo studio owner and you've been doing it for years, I can only imagine how overwhelming it would feel to get all of it out into here and training someone. But if you can start with 5 hours a week, and when we say that to people and studio owners in person, you just see they kind of relax a bit, right? So it's like, oh, maybe I could try 5 hours, and just start with just like just start with the inbox, even though the inbox is a beast. Just start.
But it changes your life. Like if you can get out of the inbox, you regain freedom.
You 100%.
You know, I remember, Michelle, back in the day when I used to work one-on-one with a lot of clients, when it was a different kind of stage, and I had one client, so beautiful. She'd been running her studio for like at least 30 years. And I heard she's kind of sold the studio now, and so it's a beautiful stage of life. And I was working with her one-on-one, and it took me 10 months to convince her to kind of release the grip on doing all of the admin herself, because she was so burnt out. Like she was so exhausted. And after 30 years, fair call. Like, you know, and she ran this beautiful kinder music studio, and it got to the point by the 10-month mark, she's like, okay, like we'll hire someone for 5 hours a week. And it was radical. Within like a month or so, I remember the email that was just giddy. It was giddy with, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. I can't believe I held onto this myself, and they're doing it brilliantly. Like brilliantly, right? And this is the shift. It's kind of like, gosh, we hold on to things so much longer than we need to.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of that confidence to just go, maybe it can be a little bit easier for me too. Maybe that's worth it.
But we're all guilty of it, right? It's not like,
no.
What are you talking about?
Not me.
Never. Never have you once.
Never have I ever been controlling about the
but
work
we're all
that
guilty of it.
Oh God, yes. Because we're human and we give a shit and we care. And we care about how people experience our businesses and about, you know, that things are done right. And that's not wrong.
No.
It's not the only way either.
Exactly. And you know what is so freeing, and you see this with studio owners, and they have that fear, and then they actually empower us. They're so good at empowering their team. And then like 10 months later, it's like, oh yeah, I've outsourced my laundry. I've outsourced this. It's like, oh, we're here.
It's so true. Even like we were having this comment with Ryan at this dinner party we were talking about on Saturday night. He was saying like before he would be at the studio to get the keys and like unlock the doors and then like lock them at the end of the session. And then he was saying like, I don't even know he's got keys to my studio. So Ryan told me a second. It's like, he's like, you want keys? Here's your keys. You want them? It's like you get to that point where you feel just this like, oh, liberation. It's liberation.
But in that liberation, you still care. Like, I think this is where some people can get it mixed up too. They're like, oh, I don't want to be that person that does it. You can still be a studio owner that highly cares, engaged, loves your team, love your students, but you don't have to be opening the doors, locking up.
I mean, there's a pendulum, right? There's the pendulum of being like doing all the things all the time, which we see is, you know, the level of burnout that we see in studio owners is largely kind of from that. And then there is definitely, you know, the kind of like, you get someone and you're like, oh, a few hands off. In fact, I remember a client, even at our recent reunion live event in New South Wales, was saying that she kind of like got someone and then she like, oh, and then it all kind of went to shit a bit. And you guys like, oh, no, it's a bit more involved than that. It's not just, I've got someone, you just kind of relinquish the reins. There is a training, mentoring, guiding, feedback, systems, Michelle Hunter-esque style training and onboarding.
Is the heart of that whole process. The how you onboard, even if it's 5 hours a week. Anybody who comes and works at Studio Evolution, unfortunately, if you work 3 hours a week or 30 hours a week, you're going through the same onboarding process with Michelle Hunter. But it works, and we document.
People love that. People love it.
Well, I think it's really important. You're still working for the same company. You're still dealing with the same people, have the same connections. You're still, you know, dealing with our heart, our community members and our members. So it deserves the same amount of effort. And at any time you feel like it's too much, onboarding and the systems that you implement when you bring someone on even 5 hours a week, you'll never regret investing time in doing that. I tell you now, I've never... From, you know, staff members that I've worked with, as some contractors, I've never regretted 1 hour over or 10 I've spent onboarding them into the company. Because
it's your superpower. It is undoubtedly your superpower.
But it serves you well in the end, right? You have to understand that the investment you're going to put up front, the more you record, you know, you create a playbook with them where they have all their systems and processes documented. That's another hour they're not going to need you
knocking on your door.
Knocking on your door. And the communication's going to get less and less. Yes, it will be heavy to start. Yes, there'll be a bit of to and fro and back and forth, but it will calm down and then you will step more into freedom.
So, Michelle Hunter, let's say we've got a studio owner here who is like been doing it all themselves, like absolutely spinning all the plates, all the teaching, all the marketing, all the operations, all the admin, buying the toilet paper, you know, you name it, they're doing it, right? And they're kind of entertaining this idea of maybe I could get someone to help me with admin for 5 hours a week. Like, where do they start? Like, where do we begin here?
I always think in that kind of role, it's so beneficial to shadow the studio, like come in and just see what they do in a normal, probably the busiest time period. So have some briefing time with them and then the busiest time period, and then just get in that inbox. I think if you can master the inbox, even if that person's doing the inbox 5 hours a week, that's 5 hours of undivided time you get to put to working on the business, not in the business. And why I always say the inbox is because the inbox is the gateway to so many functions and pathways of the studio that you'll understand pretty soon how the whole studio works when you get that inbox under control.
I know a lot of studio owners struggle sometimes because like the studio inbox is often kind of their personal, like if you've been starting, like you've owned it, so you might be getting personal things or family or friends or kind of other things are coming to that inbox. And so it's a beautiful opportunity to give yourself a private email address. And so one of the things we really recommend, and I have this myself, I have a private email that none of our clients have that is only my team knows. So only my team has my private work email. And so my inbox is very, very neat and tidy because I don't get a lot of emails. It's only from the team, right? And then you have a public facing inbox. So that would be something to do straight away, is to get yourself a private email that only your team knows. And then you can have the public email address as well, that the team member that you can both have access to. So you can both be working in that and see what's being responded to in real time.
100%. And look, we know, again, studio owners have a very personal feel when they're running the studio and how they greet emails and how they sign off and all the love that they put and effort into all their email responses. And then from there, I think really starting to understand the voice of the studio, the culture, the brand, whether that's built on the studio owner or, the community or what your studio is all about. Once you nail that, you'll be managing that inbox. Yeah, and, use TextExpander, which is just a software where you can shortcode abbreviated emails and template responses and frequently asked questions.
Actually, we need to go into more detail here, hun, because this is life-changing.
Life-changing. So when you're in any kind of admin function and you're working in inbox, there would be at least 10 different email responses off the top of the studio owner's head. They say, you'll get these regular 10 emails where it's about enrollment, payment, upcoming concert, makeup lessons, etc. And in the old kind of Sphere world, you would open up a Google Doc or a Word doc and you would have your sample responses in there. And then the admin person would be going in, they'd copy it and they'd paste it so they don't have to manually type it. TextExpander is like an online app. So it's a program. Just go to textexpander.com and then it has like a little app that you can download to your phone now, and it works amazing, and your desktop, whether you're on Apple or PC. And you can enter those template responses, so any text template, and then you can abbreviate a code. And pretty quickly, your admin will be able to remember the codes. For instance, if I have a Zoom link that I use 24 times a day because I invite staff members to join me for a catch-up in the Zoom room, my abbreviation is Z1. And I just go ping, and I just pop that into an email, and that just goes in. They can do email sign-offs. They can do, if it's a certain season, like reminders, like a PS, and they might put like P2, a code. So, and you'll be, how many studio admin people I know that know probably like 12 to 15 codes off the top of their head. And it's just,
more.
They do, I call it the email smash in the morning or in the beginning of their shift, and they clean that inbox out and then they're ready. They're into Trello. They're now, setting up for the week. Payments, they've got time to call. And that's when the growth happens and the freedom happens in that role. Like, you use a bit of smart software like TextExpander, you get some processes, you train them on how, you respond and your brand, and you record all of that and have it really systemized in software like Asana or Trello, and then they'll get used to that. First week they'll learn, second week they'll get quicker, the third week they'll be responding without even asking you what to say, and then it compounds and it happens so quickly.
And like what I love about TextExpander is like our team uses it, but there's like a centralized account where you can enter the templates in. So then Michelle can just go in and then just change the templates. Like I want to add this bit in here. And then when the team actually like uses the short code, it's all kind of aligned with how Michelle wants it to be, right? So like there's such beauty 100%. For you as a studio owner knowing like, I want it to be like this. I don't have to train everyone. I can actually just go in and just kind of tweak it. It's gold. And how expensive is it? Do you remember?
I think, look, it started off really cheap back in the day, but I think it might be like $3-4 a month. I think we're looking at. And
the cost of a coffee if you're lucky and you don't live in Sydney.
Yeah, if you don't live in Sydney. And it also,
it's a lot more expensive here.
Yeah. And
oh my gosh, yes. It's individual is $3.33 US a month. Business is $8.33 US a month. So peanuts.
It is so worth it, and your admin will love it. And then they'll get it on their phone, and then it's just.
Now let's talk about another thing when we're kind of looking at bringing someone in to work 5 hours a week, and that whole feeling of like I haven't got my system set up, so they're going to be like I haven't got nothing to kind of give them. So that again is something that just holds you back. And I wanted to give all of you permission to like, how about you just build it as part of the training process? So like if even like hearing about this TextExpander. So you go like, okay, we're going to sit down together. We're going to actually kind of put this into TextExpander together. Like here, I'm going to show you, here is a sent email that was talking about our kind of one of our FAQs. I'm going to grab this from here. I'm going to put it into TextExpander. Hey, what do you think an easy short code would be for us to remember? And get your team to do it, right? Let's actually build it together. There's no shame in this. Just if you can put aside a bit of time to building that together, then they could actually do more. You could actually show them, okay, could you bring out some more templates? Just go through these types of emails, chuck them into TextExpander, and you're going to have more freedom now. And like that is when we start to see things getting really fun for studio owners.
So fun. Chantel, that reminds me of a quote that we heard at a recent reunion event. And Chantel taught this awesome ladder, like a progression of the stages that studio owners are in as they, progress through their journey and their life as a studio owner. And then someone said, now correct me if I'm wrong, and you're going to probably remember this a lot crisper than I did, but it was like a manager pushes team through change of systems, but a leader takes them with them. It was something like that. And it exactly captures what you just said. You know, there's no shame in, you know, that's leading. If you're saying to someone, hey, we haven't got a system for this, but this is a really good opportunity for me and you to check this software out. Let's, you know, design it so it's good for us and let's make it work. There's no shame in that. That is leading.
They'll be invested. They'll be empowered because they'll understand it and they would have built it, so they'll kind of know how to use it. It's a good way to go. So let's put all of that kind of feeling of having got this to the side and just go, let's just kind of bring someone in. The investment of 5 hours a week, of getting an admin for 5 hours a week, depending on where you are in the world, honestly, for the growth it's going to give your business, it's that kind of feeling of like, you know, so many studio owners, they're stuck doing all the itty bitty, they can't do the big. No. And one thing that we are devoted to at Studio Evolution is clearing out that gunk and that fluff and all of the superfluous things that just tie you down so that you can run. We kind of want to give you freedom. And this is the kind of where it starts. It starts with just one admin, 5 hours a week to change your life.
Yeah, that's it.
So go do that.
Go do that, friends.
Chantel and Michelle say you have permission to hire someone for 5 hours a week.
100%. And let us know how you go.
The best thing for their business. It's the best thing for their business to enable kind of it to be held with more than one person too. Like it gives it stability is the truth.
And if you're so worried about cost, what do we say? It's one student. We equated it. We worked it out at a live event with like everyone there. And we said, well, then just go now and roll one student. We kind of worked it out, even if they used a VA. And and remember that switch when we said it, they were like, okay, I'll do it. And they did it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. So I hope you found this useful, friends. Hope you've got some kind of little things to think about. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time on your studio podcast. Bye.
Bye.
Love what you hear? Make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode and leave us a review. Interested in working with us and want to find out more about how we can help you? Head to studioevolution.com/start.